and she'll really get into it and break down the real details on the story of what happened. Because it's like, I kind of was like, I don't necessarily know how I actually really felt about how it should have went.
On February 14, 2022, this man and his wife were headed to dinner to celebrate the Valentine's Day holiday. They make a pit stop at a Chase bank, and while they're there at the drive-through ATM, they get robbed.
So they playing the video real quick. I don't want to just keep it silent while they talking, but the dude just literally just pulled off their jump. Like they at the
After
ATM.
getting the woman's purse, the robber takes off running, and the husband, whose name is Tony Earls Jr., gets out of the car and chases the robber while discharging his firearm. Now, they are in the state of Texas where stand your ground applies, so he is legally allowed to shoot at someone running away. Now, what Tony Earls doesn't know is that around this same time, this family is also headed to dinner to celebrate the Valentine's Day holiday.
So I told them to get ready so we can go out to eat. We were gonna go in Wendy's car, but when we stepped outside, I realized that Wendy's car had a flat tire. I looked at them and said, well, let's just go in my truck.
The father, whose name is Armando Alvarez, mentions to his wife Wendy that he also needs to make a pit stop at the bank.
And as soon as we exit, I received a notification from T-Mobile if I didn't make the payment that the phone was gonna get cut off. I told Wendy, it's like, I'm just gonna go deposit the check that Hedges gave me from their job and make the deposit and then go to Spanky's.
And it just so happens that the direction the robber is running towards is the same direction the Alvarez family is driving from. You can see in this video that there's a moment that the robber and the Alvarez family's truck go right past each other. So Armando Alvarez quickly realizes that this must be a robbery.
We were approaching that bank. I noticed off the back that there was a person running away from the bank. He was wearing a hoodie and he had a face mask on. Yes, he had a purse. The only thing we saw him running, and we proceeded forward. I noticed a person that was shooting my vehicle. Was shooting towards him, which was towards my vehicle.
So he tells his family to get down, and then he floors it. Now, because of where Tony Earls is positioned back by the ATM, and because it's at night, he doesn't have a clear view beyond this chase sign. All he sees is the robber going in one direction and now a truck at a high rate of speed coming from that exact same direction. So Tony Earls continues firing, but now he's aiming at the truck. And 9-year-old Arlene, who is sitting in the backseat of her father's truck.
Yeah, she was watching some TV shows she liked to watch as a teen. She had on her headphones.
Doesn't hear her dad say, "Get down." Arlene ends up being struck by a bullet, and despite all life-saving measures, she ends up losing her life. And now Tony Earls Jr. is on trial for Arlene's death. But don't develop your opinion yet. A few facts you need to know. The robber has never been caught, ever. And the weapon he had during that robbery has also never been found, ever. So prosecutors first tried to charge Tony Earls with aggravated assault. But after prosecutors presented their case and their evidence to the grand jury declined to bring charges. And just so we're all clear on what a grand jury is and how that process works, grand jury members hear cases before they're actual cases. The very broad overview is that a grand jury is typically a group of 16 to 23 people from the community who, just like regular jurors, got a jury summons. Now, the role of grand jury members is to hear cases that prosecutors want to charge. This process is usually done in secret because, again, the person or people haven't been charged yet. But at the end of the prosecutors presenting their evidence to the grand jury, the members then decide on if prosecutors have enough to charge the person or people that they want to charge. AKA, they decide if there's enough probable cause for a person to even be charged at all with a crime. So, when these Harris County prosecutors presented their case against Tony Earls and told the grand jury that they want to indict him for aggravated assault, the grand jury said no. They cleared Tony Earls of all wrongdoing and said he should not be charged with anything. But after that happened, according to some reports, an FBI firearms expert took a look at the case and uncovered some new evidence. So prosecutors presented this new evidence to a grand jury, and this time they got an indictment. On April 23, 2024, Tony Earls was formally charged with M. And then a year later, prosecutors presented to another grand jury, and this time they got an indictment for manslaughter. So they dropped the M charges and have proceeded on the manslaughter charge. So Tony is currently on trial for manslaughter.
How do you think Mr. Earls guilty or not guilty? You may be seated.
That was a lot, but hopefully it made sense. So in this trial, prosecutors are saying that Tony was reckless for firing at a vehicle that he had no idea who was in.
And what you're going to see, and you're going to learn, is he gets out of that vehicle angry and reckless, because he immediately turns his gun on that robbery suspect, and then when the robbery suspect hits where the chase sign is, and the defendant will never see him again. From his standpoint, where he is standing, he can't see beyond that. The defendant then goes into the open grassy area, and he fixates on the next thing he sees, which is a moving vehicle going down the street. Now, this is not a matter of the defendant shooting at the robber and missing and an errant bullet hitting the truck. Not at all. This is a case in which what the defendant does is, as soon as he misses sight of the robber running away behind that sign, he immediately directs his attention to the next vehicle coming down the street, which is the Alvarez's. In John Wick fashion, starts firing at the vehicle. The 3 shots at the guy's back. That robbery suspect never shoots back. He fired recklessly into a truck he had no idea who was in there. You're going to learn that there were 10 shots that night. And all 10 came from the defendant. And even under all the circumstances.
All right, so I mean, of course, so I guess I want to get y'all opinions on it before I play the I guess the verdict or how they and how they kind of even played it back and explained he had previous charges as well. Do y'all feel like he should have got, because I mean, of course, realistically he's facing up to 20 years. So do you feel like he should get the whole 20?
So they're charging the guy who was going to check his bank account. Is that right?
Yeah. So the person who's going to check their bank account,
not the person who got robbed.
No, they got robbed. He is the person who was checking. He wasn't checking his bank account. Him and his wife was going to the ATM before they go out for their anniversary. So they were at an ATM. They got robbed. He get out the car and try to chase the dude who robbed them down, and then just kept shooting. And so when the dude was robbing, the dude who robbed him, and he kept shooting, and he ran behind the Chase Bank sign. And then after he ran past, of course, he don't see the dude no more. The only thing you see is the car coming of the Spanish family, and he end up shooting 3 shots into the car.
Oh, so he hit the Spanish
family.
The other car. Cool. All right, because that's why I was wondering, was it the Spanish? You know what I'm saying? Like I figured it was the person who wasn't supposed to get hit. That's why.
That's
all right, cool. Because at first I thought it was like the person who was going to the bank was the one shooting the person who just robbed the other guy. That's why I was kind of confused. But now that you said that he shot the family who was coming there.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but I can see why they would charge him, because the little girl lost her life.
No, for sure. I definitely, realistically, I don't necessarily know if it was any other way that you couldn't, like, you can't even explain it because they don't have nothing to do with that. Like that, like even the stand your ground law go completely out of the window. And when you start shooting at a reckless vehicle,
it's just reckless there.
So I do want to play the
because wouldn't that be like endangerment?
Right, yeah, reckless endangerment. Yep. So I do want to play the verdict, and I do want to play this part where they kind of explain his past a little bit as well, and the reason why they end up hitting him with these amount of years.
I'm not a lawyer, but this is the part 2 recap for Texas versus Tony Earls Jr., aka the man prosecutors say recklessly discharged his firearm into a vehicle that he could not see inside of, resulting in the death of a 9-year-old little girl named Arlene Alvarez. Now, before I get into part 2, I got a couple of comments of people confused about discharging a firearm at a fleeing suspect. And since I'm not a lawyer, but I want to make sure I'm giving y'all accurate information, so here's both the prosecutor and the defense saying that based on these circumstances, Texas law allowed for Tony to discharge his firearm at the robber while the robber was fleeing.
Because he immediately turns his gun on that robbery suspect as he's running away from his vehicle. The law allows him to do that. Now, Mr. Jordan made one point really clear. The law doesn't even require Tony to wait until he's shot at. Legally, he can shoot at a fleeing suspect in an armed robbery. Okay, that's the law.
Now, what's key here are these circumstances, particularly an armed robbery. Here's a clip from the prosecutor explaining. In Texas, if you've just been robbed, you can discharge your firearm at the fleeing robber if you are attempting to get your belongings back.
And we know that in that beginning, when the defendant is firing at the person running away in Texas, the law does say he can shoot and kill that person, but it's only to get his property back because the robbery's over with. You realize that, right?
Yes.
At that point, he can shoot in the back because he's trying to get his property back, right?
Okay.
Now, of course, the problem in this case is that Tony discharged his firearm 10 times. And so at what point, if any, did Tony go from trying to get his stuff back to just being reckless? All right, so now let's get into some of the testimony from the trial. One of the first witnesses in the trial was Arlene Alvarez's father, whose name is Armando. He's an electrician, and on the evening of this incident, he worked a bit late to finish up a job and then got home. And when he got there, he says that Arlene came running up to him with a gift that she and her mom got him for Valentine's Day.
Arlene ran to the door to give me her gift that she had for Valentine's Day. Her and her mom had gotten for me. $1 million, that's what they're called, the $1 million cologne. So I told them to get ready so we can go out to eat. We were staying at my in-laws because we were currently going under construction in our home that we had at the moment. We were gonna go in Wendy's car, but when we stepped outside, I realized that Wendy's car had a flat tire. So when I saw that, we didn't know what to do, and I looked at them and said, well, let's just go in my truck. We leave, and as soon as we exit her mom's house, I received a notification from T-Mobile if I didn't make the payment that the phone was going to get cut off. I told Wendy, I'm just going to go deposit the check that Hedges gave me from that job and make the deposit and then go to Spanky's.
Now, one thing to know about Armando's truck is that he had very dark tinted windows, like 5%, the darkest you can go.
I have dark windows because I work in construction. I'm always out in the heat, in the sun, so my vehicles are always dark.
So the family is in the truck, Armando is driving, Armando's wife Wendy is in the front seat, and two of their children, Armando Jr. and Arlene, are in the back. Arlene has her headphones on watching one of her favorite shows when all of a sudden Armando notices something.
Was Arlene doing anything as y'all were driving?
Yeah, she was watching some TV show.
I thought this was the one for the third. Where's the one when they was talking about that?
I'm not a lawyer, but the jury in the Texas versus Tony Earls Jr. case has just sentenced Tony to the maximum. He has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for the death of 9-year-old Arlene Alvarez. Here's a quick clip of the judge reading the sentence.
We, the jury, having found the defendant Tony Earls guilty of the offense of manslaughter, assess his punishment at Select 1, imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term of 20 years and no fine. Does any side want the jury to be polled? Is signed by the foreman of the jury, also printed by the foreman of the jury.
After the sentence was read, Arlene's mother, Wendy Alvarez, took the stand to give more words.
So, I mean, that was basically it. I don't want to sit here and keep playing for too much longer, but he basically got 20 years. I thought I had the other video, but it was basically, I guess, leading up to, before they gave him the sentence, they sit here and went back and explained how he got another charge for, I believe it was his stepson, and they got into it inside of a liquor store or something, and he ended up assaulting his stepson in the liquor store. So it was just like, they was basically trying to show and kind of almost prove that this dude just realistically got a bad anger management problem. So realistically, that was their, they wanted to make it seem, not even gonna say make it seem, they just basically wanted to sit here and show it's like, yeah, he got robbed that day, but that has nothing to do with what type of bad temper he got. He just got a bad temper, and that was his excuse to kind of just get off all these shots. Well, realistically, those 10 shots that he got off was realistically unnecessary. Like, it was just exclusive. Like, I mean, he kind of just did, he was just doing too much. And that's why, and the sad thing is, again, because it was a little girl, I ain't mad at him for giving him the 20. Like, maybe if the person was older, they may have been a little bit more lenient with the time, but it was like, hell no, nigga, like, what is you, like, you took a kid life. Like, you can't, like, it ain't no, like, and I feel like kind of after a while, like, after the dude kind of already got past the sign, it was just like, I felt like it was too late anyway. Even by the time the dude hit the corner on him already, when he took the jump, like it took the dude a minute to get out of the car when they originally got robbed. So it was kind of just like you wasn't quick enough on your feet. So I mean, you have to do the rest.
Damn,
Back
did he
to
even
watch.
hit the vehicle?
You said, did he hit the vehicle?
The one that actually robbed him. Did he even hit that vehicle?
Oh, the dude got away. He ran away on foot. The dude ain't never get back in no vehicle.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the dude ran off on foot. He never hit no vehicle. He never hit no vehicle. I do want to really.
So why didn't he chase after him then?
Just being lazy and being reckless.
Cause see, that's what when the guy said the two vehicles crossed at the same time, I thought he was in the
No. The dude never got in the vehicle. The dude who robbed him ran off on foot and ran past the Spanish family vehicle. But then, like you said, well, the nigga, if you wasn't like you just shooting and standing and shooting, you ain't even really chase him and run him down. Because realistically, you should have just chased him down and kept shooting at him. Like you shouldn't even. There's no way in hell it should have been just you shooting that reckless in the car. So I mean, he deserved a whole 20 years. I don't feel sorry for the nigga at all. Like that's just. Yeah, that was just a dumbass move.